Welcome. This should be part 3 on the history of the eagle, or the fourth kingdom of the book of Daniel. But today, this time, we want to continue onward, looking forward into the prophecy. So all of it is going to relate because we can understand the future by looking back at the past. And so in our previous video, we were speculating on the origin of the four races. It says that these four lives, understood to be cherubim, could represent the four races. They're connected with these four colors of the horsemen. And so we were making connections, but what I want to point out is that the first horseman, Judah, takes us back to a time when all of Israel dwelt together as one body, and also looks forward to a time when Messiah is able to take down those boundaries, like between Jew and Gentile, male and female races. So in him all are one. And so it's important to note that this first horseman that I believe represents Messiah, because first and foremost, he gets the victory, and he is unmistakably the Lion from the tribe of Judah. And so what he does is he makes one kingdom over all the earth. So another video, we were pointing out that even if there are four living creatures, because they are unturning, when their faces are combined, when they're dwelling together, then we have actually what makes like a living creature in the middle. In other words, the Levites would be black for the face that faces southward, and speckled or spotted or pale for the one facing northward, and red for the one facing over here, and white for the one facing over here. So there shouldn't be any kind of argument saying, based on the color of your skin, that you are the nation of Israel. So we learned with the first kingdom, the lion, that there was intermingling, and with the third kingdom that there was intermingling with this fourth beast of the eagle, at least how we're understanding it. So pointing out here with Ezekiel 17 that there are two eagles mentioned, and we didn't really go into why there's two. So it says that they're connected with Babylon and with Egypt. So it may seem on the surface that it's good that they're making a covenant, right? So wouldn't it be good? And actually in the future, a covenant is made. In that day, Israel will join a three-party alliance with Egypt and Assyria, a blessing upon the earth. And so some people may know that Israel technically extends from the river Nile to the river Euphrates. And so one day we understand that there will be this alliance with this northern kingdom that's with the color of the white, and with the southern kingdom, and all this will be the land of Israel. The problem is just when we get outside of God's timing, but he does turn all things to good. So like all these things that was in our heart to do, and he's giving us free will to do, he lets iniquity have its course, but then he turns it into good. So you can see like it's his will all along. As far as that overall good, there's always something far greater, far better that comes from like the little bit of contamination. It's just this little irritation that makes a large pearl. So this first eagle could be one connected with Babylon. I think Lebanon is in the north. And then I don't know if this one would be like Babylon, but one with Babylon and one with Egypt. So you have the first kingdom, which is a white lion, right? And then you have the third kingdom, the two that we have intermingling with, which would be the black man. All right, so then also going back to Zechariah, before we get into Jacob's sheep, is we see that first there is the red and the black, but the only ones that actually go to battle against these eagles, the eagle kingdom, is the black ones go first. So these could have been like the first ones that they intermarried with, as far as like the time frame on the earth, not Daniel's kingdoms that come later, why they're changed like in the order that they're listed here. And then the white ones also. So it's kind of like they're the ones, since they were kind of part of the sin, as far as their parents could have done this. And so they are like the prodigy of this. So with that being said, what are the first sheep that Jacob gets? Where do you think most of the 12 sons got their wives? We know for Abraham, he sent, and Isaac, they sent to get wives from like Laban or the parents there. But it could be that they got wives from the Canaanites. And so people might want to say today, no, it was just like other people living there, definitely not the Canaanites. But like that could have happened, and people might not want to think that they intermarried while they were in Egypt. But there was like at least one who was like the son of an Egyptian that got in a fight in the wilderness, and like how the first, or Judah actually was like with a prostitute, and I think it says that she was a Canaanite. Anyway, so like this first sheep that Jacob gets here, it is in Genesis 30. For his wages I will pass through all thy flock today, removing from thence all the speckled and spotted cattle and all the brown cattle among the sheep, and the spotted and speckled among the goats. Taking a closer look, cattle could be tied in with leadership. They are speckled and spotted. Goats can deal with those who are more stubborn, not necessarily evil, but speckled and spotted. And the sheep are translated as brown. I saw another translation was black. So it can be dark brown or black darkened, like a warm color. And then our words for speckled and spotted are nakod is the first one. Here's the uses, and it's like a mark. So it's got points on it, speckled, but also tala, spotted, or diverse colors, because we already know it's speckled. So it could have multiple diversity. So like an intermingling is what it could be talking about. This word of diverse colors takes us to Ezekiel 16, where you trusted in your beauty and became unfaithful because of your fame, and you poured out your obscene practices on every passerby to whom it might be tempting. You took some of your clothes, made for yourselves high places of various colors, and committed prostitution on them, which should not come about nor happen. It is possible that at this point in Jacob's life, he could be wrestling with wealth and maybe therefore also idolatry, because he might have overcome this when he's willing to give up all his possessions, that his family is what's important, and give this up to Esau, who had first may have robbed him on his way to Laban, why he didn't have a marriage present. That was like a midrash though. So what happens here is that the flocks conceive before these rods, and they bring forth these three things. And so the speckled and the spotted, again, were the cattle and the goats. The sheep, though, the lambs, he's keeping the brown or the black for himself. And so ring-straked now is the first time this is being mentioned. So this can be our second category, but it's interesting that our third category is not mentioned here. We'll get to that in the next chapter. And what he does with this is he can sell some of the things, and now by servants that could kind of intermingle, and he can buy camels and donkeys. Next chapter. So his father is not happy, and he's telling his wives that if he said the speckled would be your wages, our first thing here, the nakod, the speckled, then all the cattle bear speckled. And if he said thus, it could be like the leadership that's doing this intermingling, and the stubborn ones, the ring straight shall be thy hire. That's the second one. The third one, he's not explaining, is even part of his wages, but we're understanding this part where he's progressing to now wrestle with God and prevail. And it could be like Esau's angel, something like this, where even the reds and the whites, like Judah and like the tribes of Israel, are going to battle with Satan in his heavenly kingdom. And if they prevail, then it's like their right to take the devil's immortality, that he now becomes the shattered vessel, that the roles reverse. So taking away all the strength of Laban, that's kind of like what he's doing and what Israel could be doing in Revelation chapter 12. It's demonstrating that it's not just a spiritual promise, that they also physically need to wrestle and take that away from this kingdom of the eagle. So this third one just kind of seems thrown in and then repeated again here. And with God saying this here, but it's rams wasn't mentioned in chapter 1. Rams leaping upon the cattle are ring strikes, speckled, and grizzled. Speckled was our first one. So we looked at that. Now here's our second category, streaked or striped. So Jacob, who might be a little tricky, seems to be getting tricked now with the wages being changed 10 times. It's being used just right here, but it comes from this word meaning bound. Okay, but before we look at the usage of this word, we can see one with a hey added, like just like a feminine ending, and it means a trick, subtlety, like the serpent, craftiness, tied in with Jehu is doing it subtly to the intent that he might destroy the worships of Baal, I guess destroying the serpent with his own medicine. So the sheep are bound. They have stripes laid on them. So here we have the picture of Isaac, which points us to Messiah, who is bound, who has stripes laid on him for our healing, because we were sheep that were led astray. Which takes us to this third phase that was not even what they were doing in chapter 30. That wasn't even a category. So what does this mean? It's used of this fourth beast, this fourth kingdom, that they are grizzled and strong. That's the same words in our Hebrew manuscript of Revelation chapter 6, describing the fourth horseman. That's the Antichrist and all of Hades following with him. What does this mean? It means is translated as spotted or marked. It says to hail, used here. So is that what that means? Hail coming down on the forest. But we finally find out that it means to scatter. So that's what happens to the sheep, that they become scattered. With the intermingling, they first have stripes and are bound, and then they also are spotted as if with hail, and the hail has the idea of to scatter. You almost think of the skin disease leprosy that can leave cavities on your skin, so it eats away at you. Laban's name simply means white, so he seems very pure, but it says, your father has deceived me. So he made this union, this covenant with this father, tying us in with the devil who deceives. 10 times. I mean, God tests Israel 10 times in the wilderness, 10 times they kind of tested him. But after wrestling in like the cold of the night, the heat of the day, God had taken away all that was that father's, and now Israel has this Jacob. And then he sees in this dream rams. So it's almost like false shepherds. You could maybe get this imagery that they're leaping upon the cattle. And speckled was our first one, tied in with intermingling, and they are striped, bound, and grizzled, like as if with hail, like these chunks of ice. And then God says, lift up now thine eyes and see all the rams which leap upon the cattle are ring-straked, speckled, and grizzled, for I have seen all that Laban doeth unto thee. Rams is like the priestly class. So Jacob's cattle were not grizzled. The rams which leapt upon the cattle, the false leaders, were ring-straked and speckled and grizzled. What it doesn't mention is this dark color that could be a warm color. And so we can see that what represents this fourth kingdom is grizzled, and also they have their blood mixed in with these two varieties. So what happened to Jacob, to Israel, after he first made a deal with this father in order to receive dark, warm-colored sheep, as well as intermixed, stubborn ones and cattle. After this, they became slaves, sort of for 400 years, but they probably weren't in Egypt for 400 years. This could be part of his slavery here already with Laban. And then for the final phase of the grizzled, when they were delivered from slavery, they came to a land that still had descendants of the giants that they saw there. And it said if you did not wipe them out, they would be like thorns in your side. So almost like eating away at your skin. If you pull that thorn out, you've got this little cavity there. So this final one, the cattle do not become grizzled, but they do bruise them, their thorns in their side. So we've seen these different phases of intermingling, first when they are still around the land of Israel or the relatives there, and then when they go down to Egypt, and then when they come back to the land a few hundred years later. Now for the book of Esdras, dealing with the prophecy concerning the eagle. Chapter 11. It came to pass the second night that I saw a dream, and behold, an eagle which had 12 feathered wings and 3 heads came up from the sea. I saw, and behold, she spread her wings over all the earth, and all the winds of the heaven blew on her, and the clouds were gathered together against her. I saw, and out of her wings there grew other wings near them, and they became little tiny wings, but her heads were at rest. The head in the middle was larger than the other heads, yet rested it with them. Moreover, I saw, and behold, the eagle flew with her wings to reign over the earth, and over those who dwell therein. I saw how all things under the heaven were subject to her, and no one spoke against her, no, not one creature on earth. I saw, and behold, the eagle rose on her talons, and uttered her voice to her wings, saying, "Don't all watch at the same time. Let each one sleep in his own place and watch in turn. But let the heads be preserved for the last." I saw, and behold, the voice didn't come out of her heads, but from the midst of her body. I counted her wings that were near the others, and behold, there were 8 of them. I saw, and behold, on the right side, one wing arose and reigned over all the earth. When it reigned, the end of it came, and it disappeared, and so that its place appeared no more. The next wing rose up and reigned, and it ruled a long time. It happened that when it reigned, its end came also, so that it disappeared like the first. Behold, a voice came to it and said, "Listen, you who have ruled over the earth all this time, I proclaim this to you, before you disappear, none after you will rule as long as you, not even half as long." Then the third arose and ruled as the others before, and it also disappeared. And so it went with all the wings, one after another, as everyone ruled and then disappeared. I saw, and behold, in process of time, the wings that followed were set up on the right side, that they might rule also. Some of them ruled, but in a while they disappeared. Some of them also were set up, but didn't rule. After this I saw, and behold, the 12 wings disappeared, along with 2 of the little wings. There was no more left on the eagle's body, except the 3 heads that rested, all 6 little wings, and 6 little wings. And I saw, and behold, 2 little wings divided themselves from the 6, and remained under the head that was on the right side, but 4 remained in their place. I saw, and behold, these under wings planned to set themselves up and to rule. I saw, and behold, there was one set up, but in a while it disappeared. A second also did so, and it disappeared faster than the first. I saw, and behold, the 2 that remained also planned between themselves to reign. While they thought about it, behold, one of the heads that were at rest awakened, the one that was in the middle, for that was greater than the 2 other heads. I saw how it joined the 2 other heads with it. Behold, the head turned with those who were with it, and ate the 2 underwings that planned to reign. But this head held the whole earth in possession, and ruled over those who dwell in it with much oppression. It had stronger governance over the world than all the wings that had gone before. After this I saw, and behold, the head also that was in the middle suddenly disappeared like the wings. But the 2 heads remained, which also reigned the same way over the earth and over those who dwell in it. I saw, and behold, the head on the right side devoured the one that was on the left side. Then I heard a voice which said to me, "Look in front of you and consider the thing that you see." I saw, and behold, something like a lion roused out of the woods, roaring. I heard how he sent out a man's voice to the eagle and spoke, saying, "Listen, and I will talk with you. The Most High will say to you, aren't you the one that remains of the 4 animals whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of my times might come through them?" The 4th came and overcame all the animals that were past, and ruled the world with great trembling, and the whole extent of the earth with grievous oppression. He lived on the earth such a long time with deceit. You have judged the earth, but not with truth. For you have afflicted the meek, you have hurt the peaceful, you have hated those who speak truth, You have loved liars, destroyed the dwellings of those who produced fruit, and threw down the walls of those who did you no harm. Your insolence has come up to the Most High, and your pride to the Mighty. The Most High has also looked at his times, and behold, they are ended, and his ages are fulfilled. Therefore appear no more, you eagle, nor your horrible wings, nor your evil little wings, nor your cruel heads, nor your hurtful talons, nor all your worthless body, that all the earth may be refreshed and relieved, being delivered from your violence, and that she may hope for the judgment and mercy of him who made her. It came to pass, while the lion spoke these words to the eagle, I saw, and behold, the head that remained disappeared, and the two wings which went over to it arose and set themselves up to reign, and their kingdom was brief and full of uproar. I saw, and behold, they disappeared, and the whole body of the eagle was burned, so that the earth was in great fear. Then I woke up, because of great perplexity of mind and great fear, and said to my spirit, Behold, you have done this to me, because you search out the ways of the Most High. Behold, I am still weary in my mind, and very weak in my spirit. There isn't even a little strength in me, because of the great fear with which I was frightened tonight. Therefore I will now ask the Most High that he would strengthen me to the end. Then I said, O sovereign Lord, if I have found favor in your sight, and if I am justified with you more than many others, and if my prayer has indeed come up before your face, strengthen me then, and show me, your servant, the interpretation and plain meaning of this fearful vision, that you may fully comfort my soul. For you have judged me worthy to show me the end of time and the last events of the times. And he said to me, This is the interpretation of this vision which you saw. The eagle whom you saw come up from the sea is the fourth kingdom, which appeared in a vision to your brother Daniel. But it was not explained to him, as I now explain it to you, or have explained it. Behold, the days come that a kingdom will rise up on the earth, and it will be feared more than all the kingdoms that were before it. 12 kings will reign in it, one after another. Of those, the second will begin to reign, and will reign a longer time than others of the 12. This is the interpretation of the 12 wings which you saw. As for when you heard a voice which spoke, not going out from the heads, but from the midst of its body, this is the interpretation, that after the time of that kingdom there will arise no small contentions, and it will stand in peril of falling. Nevertheless, it won't fall then, but will be restored again to its former power. You saw the 8 under wings sticking to her wings. This is the interpretation, that in it 8 kings will arise, whose times will be short and their years swift. 2 of them will perish when the middle time approaches. 4 will be kept for a while until the time of the ending of it will approach, but 2 will be kept to the end. You saw 3 heads resting. This is the interpretation. In its last days, the Most High will raise up 3 kingdoms and renew many things in them. They will rule over the earth and over those who dwell in it with much oppression.